Good evening, and welcome to Island View, your source of TV news for Staten Island. I would like to thank our sponsors and our viewers for acknowledging the need for a show such as ours. I would like to say it's been a pleasure serving the Staten Island community, and we intend on doing it for a long time to come. Without any further ado, let's start Island View.
Tonight's episode includes Election 93 wrap-up, local and mayoral races.
We do not want to go back. We want to go forward.
Staten Island voted yes for secession. The question is, where do we go from here?
But now it's time to go, and go we will.
We spotlight Islander and actor Clem Caserta, who was featured in A Bronx Tale.
This movie, I liked everything I did. There's nothing I would change. I would keep it exactly what I did.
Also, a Westerly resident has a beef. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. This past Election Day placed us as Islanders in a rather interesting position. We had the choice, like everyone else, to vote for the mayor of New York City, but at the same time, we had the choice to decide whether or not to secede from New York City. 65% of Islanders said yes to secession, and almost as if we wanted to do so without any guilt, we leave the city in competent hands by contributing an overwhelming 83% of our vote toward electing Rudolph Giuliani the next mayor of New York City. On election night '93, our Island View news team secured its cameras within the New York Hilton, where Giuliani and his supporters were celebrating the election results.
As Jackie Gleason used to say, how sweet it is! I have an announcement to make. About 5 minutes ago, Mayor Dinkins called Rudy Giuliani and conceded the election.
You fought to take back your city, and let's stick together, and next year let's fight to take back our state. Let's give it to them. Hey!
Every 20 or 24 years, the Liberal Party joins with the Republican Party and the independent wing of the Democratic Party to bring on fusion reform government and do a clean sweep of City Hall. Four years ago, we miscounted, but we knew we had the right candidate, and tonight, he has been elected the next mayor of New York City.
We have to know, everybody in the city knows, we are so lucky tonight because a man like Rudolph Giuliani is going to be taking care of us for 4 beautiful, maybe 8 long, wonderful years. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Rudolph Giuliani.
The last time I addressed a crowd like this, it was to thank you after I had lost. Now I want to thank you for electing Rudy Giuliani, who I believe will be a great mayor.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. From the very start, and tonight is that start, I want New York to know and understand my stated goal. My administration will be universal in its concern, sensitive to our diversity, and even-handed in every way possible. The agenda during the next 4 years is full. There's much to do, and I can only do it with your continued support and with your help. As we look to the future, we must proceed with one thing in mind. Whatever adversity we face, we will face it together. And whatever the benefits they will be distributed evenly and fairly. The election is now over, and we will move together as New Yorkers. All of us have to be part of that process. It'll be a period of transition for us, but a passage of necessity if we are to overcome structural budget deficits and administrative deficiencies. During my term of office, you can count on me to be an activist mayor. I'll not remain silent while our city is in trouble. I will speak out when I see uneven standards applied. I'll lift my voice when I hear injustice of any kind. And I won't even begin to think about pausing for breath until our city is being managed and is on the road to social and economic recovery. That is my hope for all of us tonight. The reality awaits our arrival about 6 o'clock in the morning. There is no way that I will ever be able to thank you. Many of you were here with me 4 years ago to reform and to change our city. You're here now. Many more have joined you. And before we're finished, the whole city will join us as we move forward to be a greater and a better city. God bless you.
Later on, we'll continue with our Election 93 wrap-up by hearing from the winners of the District City Council races. But right after this short break, secession. Where do we go from here? We'll be right back.
Welcome back. My name is Gary Humienny. This past November 2nd, our Island View News team went to the Island Chateau in Grasmere, where anxious islanders and politicians celebrated a major step in an ongoing campaign to have Staten Island gain its independence from the city of New York.
Staten Island, exercising their right to propose a government of their choosing through which all people can be effectively represented, do hereby adopt this charter.
Staten Island can be very, very proud of our decision tonight. We have made this decision out of conviction and out of common sense, based on our collective experiences as Staten Islanders and New Yorkers. It's been great to visit for the last 90-plus years, but now it's time to go, and go we will.
Everybody, no matter how they voted, and we have a special obligation to those who have placed their trust in us to proceed on this battle. But everyone who voted and everyone who participated made a contribution. Let that contribution be a positive one. Let it be an affirmation of democracy at work. And I know you can do it, and I know those folks out there who may have disagreed with us will be brought into this family, and they will strengthen our efforts.
100 years ago, the Chamber very much supported consolidation of the city of New York. This was no man's land. We were a small rural community, no chance of developing our own infrastructure, no chance of us supporting ourselves economically. In 100 years, we have come into our own, and we are an economic power, not just in the city, not just in the region, but in the state. This is now the second largest city in the state, if in fact secession moves to its logical conclusion. And this is the people of Staten Island taking control of the reins, taking control of their own destiny, and it is a great night for the people of Staten Island.
Starting in the next couple of days, our debate will shift from the streets and neighborhoods into the halls of the legislature. And I know you all share my confidence that your legislative team is ready to meet the challenge, and we will meet it successfully, and this will be a done deal.
We voted yes. The party's over. Now the big battles begin. The state legislature, along with Governor Mario Cuomo, have the final say. Much more on that when we continue. Later in our program, Election Part 2, the local winners, and much more. We'll be right back. Welcome back. As I stated before the break, voting and winning a yes for secession was the easy part. Now the big war begins as our new charter becomes the battleground in state legislature.
We all recognize that the next step may look that all that has gone before in the last 3 years, that may become to look like child's play. Because now we have an obligation to speak to the legislative leaders and to the governor and to each of the members of the legislature, especially those who represent the other 4 boroughs, to tell them that what has taken place today on Staten Island is no threat to them.
With the eyes of the nation and the world upon them, these leaders will now have to justify whether principles of freedom and self-rule are merely concepts that we export to other far-off places, or are fundamental virtues that are capable of being practiced here in the democratic cradle of the world.
As the process continues and our legislators and the commission, the Charter Commission, begins to develop the legislation to be sent up to Albany, they'll be coming back to their districts, they'll be coming back to their community groups, talking to them about the kinds of things that they're going to put in the legislation and how the process will continue. So there'll be plenty of opportunity for input from folks on Staten Island here as the process continues up in Albany and as we move forward in this. It'll be a developing issue. It won't be done tomorrow, and there are a number of items to work out, and people's views will be solicited during this process.
Staten Island secession commissioners have approximately 3 months to deliver secession legislation to Albany. First up will be the many committees within both the Assembly and the Senate. Once all committees have had their say, Assembly Speaker Sol Weprin and Senate Majority Leader Ralph Marino will decide whether or not to put it to a vote on the floor. If passed, the legislation lands on Governor Mario Cuomo's desk, where he could either approve it as law or veto it completely.
Now, if there's any conscience at work, if we're not going to engage in the rawest type of power politics, we will prevail.
Right! I think we can make that case to the legislature. I think we can win. We're certainly going to try as hard as we can. And before the 21st century, Staten Island will become the second largest city in the state of New York, thanks to all of you. God bless you.
Under completely perfect conditions, there could be a city of Staten Island by the year 1998. But since when has government been perfect? There's always a probability that newly elected Mayor Rudy Giuliani may attempt to placate us by offering Staten Island more power if we should decide to stay. Up next, our Spotlight feature.
Spotlight on Clem Caserta. Island resident Clem Caserta is featured in Robert De Niro's A Bronx Tale.
But don't ever talk to me like that again. I tell your son to go to school, to go to college.
You don't understand. It's not what you say. It's what he sees. It's the clothes, it's the cars, it's the money, it's everything. He tried to throw away his baseball cards the other day because he said Mickey Mantle will never pay my rent.
He said that to you?
That's not funny. Not funny when your 9-year-old kid has a bigger bank account than you do.
I offered you a job, but you said no to me.
That's right, and I say no now. Just leave my son alone, please.
Don't you see how I treat that kid? I treat that kid like he's my son.
He ain't your son. He's my son.
He's what?
He's my son.
Come on, get the out of here.
I'm not afraid of you.
Well, you should.
I know who you are, Sonny. I know what you're capable of, and I would never step out of line. You could ask anybody in this neighborhood who knows me. But this time you're wrong. You don't fool with a man's family. This is my son, not yours.
What are you going to do, fight
me? You stay away from my son.
Get out of here before I give you a slap.
Just stay away from my son.
Go ahead.
I don't care who you are. You stay away from
Jimmy Whispers is a dynamic character. See, originally my character's name, which people didn't even know, it was Jimmy 10-2. And the reason it was 10-2 because my feet were crossed like 10 to 2 on a clock. So I had trouble doing that. And De Niro noticed I always whispered when I talked. So De Niro changed the script from Jimmy 10-2 to Jimmy Whispers. So that's why I played Jimmy Whispers in the movie. And I made my character, I made it real what it was. I became the character. I lived the character. I was a mob guy in my mind, a mob boss in my mind, and I had trouble breaking the character at points because I really got carried away with the role. My mentor on the screen is Robert De Niro, not because he's my friend for 37 years. I'm not saying that. It's because of his acting ability as an actor. He gets so into character. I never know who I'm talking to when I'm on the phone with him. And he's so real into parts, and his mood shifts and changes. He stays with the character. Like a Night in the City, he wouldn't talk to me for the first month on the set because I had to shoot him, and my experience wasn't enough to know why he didn't talk to me, because then I realized why he didn't talk to me was the reason why he didn't talk to me because I had to kill him. So he used method on me. It was a method, and I learned about method acting. And also we shot Mad Dog and Glory with Bill Murray and De Niro. When De Niro had the gun on Bill Murray, I didn't smoke in 2 years. I started smoking. I was so real. And Bill Murray checked the gun to see if there's bullets in there to see if that was real. Yeah, well, I own 2 scripts that I wrote about 10 years ago, and we just getting the funding together now, which I'm going to probably star in and co-direct because I can't direct myself. So I'm going to direct scenes. My acting coach, Greta Seacat, is going to be the director. I picked who I want. We're in the process now of raising $1 million. It's a sophisticated private placement with 20 units at $50,000 a piece. It's done a certain way, or somebody might buy it outright for me. But we're definitely doing the project this year, and I got 2 of them, and I'm gonna use all unknowns.
Welcome to another installment of What's Your Beef? Westerly resident Janice O'Brien is angered by the amount of crime she has in her neighborhood, but she's got a plan to support her beef.
My name is Janice O'Brien, and I have a beef about neighborhood safety. I live in a very residential area in Westerly. We never had to worry about people coming into the neighborhood and causing harm and any trouble, but now we do. Not too long ago, an off-duty cop was stabbed 2 houses down from mine, and I feel that's very scary. We shouldn't have to worry about leaving our windows open when we go to sleep at night, or walking to the store to get a snack after dark. We shouldn't feel uncomfortable walking from our cars to our homes after going out at night. It's not a matter of patrolling areas or spending a lot of money on intricate security systems. We can just do the few simple steps, a few simple things, a little bit of effort to make our community safer for ourselves and our children. All I did was put a flyer together and pass them out into people's mailboxes, and I received a good response. I'm getting a meeting together. An officer is joining me, and she is going to teach us and show us and explain to us what we have, what we could do to make the neighborhood a better place to live in.
If anyone feels like getting involved in Janice O'Brien's crime prevention plan, you can contact her by writing to Janice O'Brien, care of Island View, Post Office Box 140551, SINY 10314. Now, as we wrap up our coverage of Election 93, we'd like to congratulate all the winners in the District City Council races. This year, all 3 incumbents won.
Congrats to Jay O'Donovan in the 49th, John Fusco in the 50th, and Fred Cirillo in the 51st District.
We spoke with these 3 councilmen just days after the election.
I'm the council member from the 50th District, and basically my council district is one of the 3 that encompasses more than one borough. My Mid-Island district encompasses approximately 100,000 constituents in Staten Island and another 42,000 constituents in the Bensonhurst area of Brooklyn.
I'm a city council member representing the 51st Council District, which is the district that incorporates the entire South Shore of Staten Island and the portions of New Springville and the areas around the mall. I'm also the minority leader of the city council, which means I represent the delegation of Republican members in the legislature locally.
I represent the 49th Council District, which is a very diversified district. It encompasses from St. George all the way out to Mariners Harbor, Mariners Harbor back to St. George, down to through Pouch Terminal into Rosebank and parts of Clifton. I also represent parts of Grasmere and Dongan Hills. A very, very diversified district from West Brighton and New Brighton, Tompkinsville, St. George, Mariners Harbor, Arlington, parts of Dongan Hills, Toad Hill, from the richest to the poorest, and everybody in between.
Okay, I was elected for the first time to the City Council in 1991 and have held the post nationally for 2 years. That was at the time of charter revision, where the council was expanded from 36 members to 51 members, and as to Staten Island, was expanded from 2 to 3 members.
I was elected in the first special election that ever happened under the new city charter back in May of 1990. I've held the seat since then, although I've run 4 times now to keep it. I filled the seat that was once held by Susan Molinari when she was in the city council before she went to Congress.
I started in 1982, and I just ran for re-election again a number of days ago and won handily in a tough election, and we have 4 more years to go. So from 1982, it's 1993 now, and we have to 1997.
We will continue that. I will continue to push for legislation, but in the forefront of all will be my undying commitment to see that secession does happen during the next 4 to 7 years.
I'm really very pleased to be in this position and to work for Staten Island. It's something I've committed myself to and do very happily, and want to use the opportunity also to thank all those people for their overwhelming support, and I look forward to continuing to work with them and with you on all the issues of importance for Staten Island.
I just want to thank my electorate, my constituents, for voting for me again. Thank you very much. You all know who I am and where I stand on a lot of these issues and where to get me. Just give me a call if you're in St. George. They come and knock on my door and come on in.
Island View is brought to you in part by the new Shoreacres. We're having a huge Thanksgiving Eve bash on Wednesday, November 24th. Dollar shots, prizes, and fun for all on Bay Street and Fingerboard Road. The new Shoreacres. It's the place to be. Family Health Foods, a complete line of natural supplements and health food. Located at 177 Newdorf Lane, Family Health Foods, 351-7704. All Borough movers, completely licensed and insured household and commercial movers. Move with confidence. Be sure to call All Borough at 727-5568. Join Staten Island's finest businesses by having your company advertised right here on Island View. Call Vision Quest Productions at 727-3777. That's Vision Quest at 727-3777.
Well, that's it for tonight. Before we go, I'd like to remind you that our P.O. Box number and our phone number directly follow the credits. Please write this information down. And when you write us, include your phone number and the town in which you live in. when we do a town spotlight, you just might be hearing from us. When you visit any of our sponsors' establishments, tell them that you saw their ad on Island View. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Well, for the Island View News team, good night, and see you next week.